Hello all and welcome to new subscribers. And thank you for reaching 200 subscribers. That's more than I ever thought possible. It's nice to see that so many of you enjoy solving Sudokus without using pencil marks, which is of course what I do most of the time. So to celebrate, I thought we would do today's New York Times Hard Sudoku. Today is December 4th, 2022. There's a 5 here and there's a 5 here. We need to find a 5 for the first column. And it can't go here, 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 or here because all of these cells can be seen by other 5s. So it needs to go here. And now I'm looking at the 1 here and the 1 here. We need to find a 1 for the second row. And this is where it has to go. I hope this doesn't turn out to be one of the easy New York hard Sudokus. We'll see. There's a 1 here and there's a 1 here, and they block these 2 cells and these 2 cells. And this cell is also blocked by the 1 over here in the first column. Therefore, this cell must be a 1. Now the 1 here blocks these 2 cells, and this 1 can observe these 2 cells. Therefore, a 1 for the third last row, row 7, must go either here or here. It's not really important at this time where it's going to go eventually. What's important is that there can be no more 1s in this row. And since there's already a 1 in row 9, we know that a 1 for row 8 must go here. Now we need to find a 2, 5, and a 9 for this cell, and this cell. There's a 2 already here that can see this cell, and there's a 2 here that blocks this cell. Therefore, this must be a 2. Now, this is a 5 or a 9, and this is a 5 or a 9. Those appear to be the easy singles. Let's look a little deeper now. I like to look at rows and columns that already have at least 5 givens. And in column 1, we still need to find a 2, 3, 6, and an 8. Now there's an 8 and a 6 here, so this has got to be a 2 or a 3, except it can't be a 2 either because there's a 2 also in this row, so a 3 must go here. And I immediately scan right now because every time I enter a digit, I also look out of the corner of my eye and I see this 3 here. And now I start wondering, where can I put a 3 in these 2 cells? Because in one of these 2 cells, it must go. And since there's a 3 here, this is the target cell. But back to the 2, 6, and 8, we still need for this cell, and this cell. Let's see. Well, an 8 must go in one of these 2 cells. A 2 can't go here. And this has got to be a 2 or a 6. So I will have to wait a little bit before I solve those. It's easy to overlook that a 1 must go here. It's not really a common pattern, but of course, a 1 can't go in any of these 2 cells. And a 1 also can't go in this cell, can it? Because of the 1 over here. So the only open cell for a 1 in this column is going to be here. And that gives us a 1 here, of course. I'm keeping an eye on the 6s. The 6 here is blocking this cell and this cell. And I want to find a 6 for block 5. And because of the 6 here, a 6 for block 5, and therefore for this row, must go here or here. And that gives me a 6 for this cell, doesn't it? Because a 6 can't go in this cell because of the 6 up here in the corner. So now looks at what's left for this row. Left are a 7 and an 8 and a 2. And that's not easily resolved, not yet anyway. Here's a very typical pattern for many puzzles, but for the New York Times hard puzzles in particular. Let's look at these 4 digits here, the 1, 2, 3, and a 6. Let's discard the 1 for now because there's a 1 already in this column. And this column is what interests us. Because for the 2, 3, and a 6, we need to find some place for these 3 digits in these empty cells in exactly this column. Of course, they can't go in these 2 cells because they are already blocked by the same 3 digits. So 2, 3, and a 6, to find homes for those in this column is not that hard because we have a 2, 3, and a 6 already that block this cell right here. So the 2, 3, and a 6 must go in this cell, and this cell exactly. And the remaining 3 digits now will have to be a 5, 8, and a 9. And since these 2 cells cannot contain an 8 because they have to be a 2, 3, or a 6, right? These 2 cells cannot contain an 8 because there's an 8 already in this box. This cell cannot contain an 8 because there's an 8 already in the row. The 8 now must go here. And now we can place an 8 in this block 7, can't we? Because the 8 here blocks these 2 cells. There's going to be an 8 in one of these 2 cells, blocking this cell. And this 8 blocks these 2 cells. So an 8 will have to go here. So now this, which started out by being a 5-9 pair, a remote pair with the 5-9 over here, now has another pair here, a 5 or a 9. So this is a 5 or a 9, and this is a 5 or a 9. This is a 5 or a 9. For column 1, we still need to find a 2 and a 6, and that's quite easy because we already have a 2 in the bottom row, so the 6 must go here, and the 2 therefore goes here. And now this 6 and this 6 puts a 6 in this cell because of the 6 up here and the 6 here blocking these cells. So this is now a 6. For the longest time, I've been arguing with myself whether to put the 2 here or here, but rather than doing anything randomly, which would be really bad form when solving a Sudoku, we shouldn't really enter digits if we are not 100% sure that they are correct. But now that we have the 2 here and the 2 here, we need to find a 2 for one of these 2 cells. And it needs to be this cell up here because now we have a 2 in the 3rd row already. And that gives us a 5 for the column because a 5 can't go here, right? A 5 can't go here because one of these 2 will have to be a 5. We discussed that earlier. The reason being that there is a 5 already that blocks these 3 cells. So these 2 are possible 5s. So no 5 here, no 5 here, and no 5 here because of this 5. So this is where the 5 goes. And now we have the solution to the 5 and the 9. Until now, we only had a single 9 in the entire grid. Now we have 2. And finding this 5 gives us the 5 up here now. And this puzzle is breaking slowly, but I think it's going to break. Let's see, these 2 cells have to be a 4 and a 9, leaving a 2, 6, 7, and an 8 for these 4 empty cells. And there's a 2, 7, and an 8 already in this row. Therefore, this cell has got to be a 6. And now with this 6 and this 6 and this 6 is a given. And 2, 7, and 8, I think, are now also easy. This cell must be a 2 because this cell can't be because of the 2 here, and this cell can't be a 2 because of this 2. So this has got to be a 2. And that makes this cell up here, of course, also a 2. And now these 2 cells have to be a 7 and an 8. And that means that this cell must be a 7, and this one here has got to be a 9, the 3rd 9 in the grid. And that gives us a 4th, because the 9 here and here will force a 9 into this cell. It can't go here because of the 9 here, remember? So this is now a 9. and the 9 here and the 9 here, force a 9 into this cell like so. And now this 9 forces a 9 into the top row in one of these two cells. And therefore we need to find a 9 for one of these two cells. And that's easy because it can't go here due to the 9 already present in the column. So this is a 9, and we might as well plug in the last digit here, which is going to be a 3. These two cells now have to be a 4 and a 5. Also easy because there's a 5 already in this column. So the 4, of course, goes here and the 5, therefore, here. We're getting very close now. These two cells have to be a 4 and a 7. And this is also a 4 or a 7. That's interesting. So I can't see what to do with them. Oh, right now, but let's look at these two cells. They have to be a 4 and an 8, don't they? They're also not solvable at the moment. That's nice because we like it, small challenge. But I know that a 4, 7, and an 8 must go in these 3 empty cells, and we have a 7 and an 8 already that block this cell. Therefore, it's got to be a 4. And this is now a 7 and an 8, but we already talked about that earlier, didn't we? So the 6 here and the 6 here. 4 is a 6 in one of these two cells, but there's a 6 already in this column. Therefore, the 6 is forced into this cell now. And of course, the 4 here blocks these two cells, and we need a 4 for this box, don't we? So the 4 will go here, and therefore a 4 will have to go here. See this 4 here, right? And therefore a 4 goes here, and here, and here, making this a 9. Remember, the last two cells here have to be a 7 and a 3. There is a 7 already present in this box, so 3 goes here, of course, and the 7 now goes here. This cell now has got to be a 3. And let's see, this cell cannot be a 3 because of the 3 here. And we've got a 3 here and a 3 here. That makes this cell a 3. Can't be anything else. And this one is going to be a 7. 7 here, 7 here, 7 here. 7 here, 7 here, 7 here, and therefore an 8 here, an 8 here, obviously. And this cell's got to be an 8 as well. That makes this cell an 8. And now we are looking at a 2 and a 7 for these two cells. There's a 7 already present in the column, so this is a 2 and this is a 7. Now this cell must be a 2 because of the 2 we just found, right? And this is a 9 because it's the last digit missing from this row and from this box. The 9 here and the 9 here puts a 9 in the top row in column 2. And the last digit in this puzzle is 3. That wasn't really very difficult, but I thought it was a nice little firework puzzle to celebrate my 200th subscriber, for which I'm really grateful. I hope you enjoyed it and that you'll be back for more soon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.